What is going on, everybody? How are you doing? I hope all is well with you. Um, last week we said goodbye to 2024. This week we say hello to 2025. And I like to start out this show with just saying, you know, thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the tragedy yesterday in New Orleans. Um, it's a shame uh, of what evil there is in this world. It's a damn shame, and I hope that we could all move past this and just have a better 2025. Donnie, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Hope all is well. Hope you had a great New Year's. Having fun, doing all that good stuff. Um, so yeah, I was looking, something, this is not sure what is happening. I have like a slightly delay on my screen, and it is actually irritating. But that being said, I was looking at the year in review on eBay. That's where I basically have sold all my cards. Did sell a couple way in the beginning of the year on Bonanza. Happy New Year! Thank you very much, Nami. Happy New Year to you too. Hope you would hope those was well. And I was looking at my numbers, on eBay, and uh, although overall it's weird, my numbers are up overall on eBay. The amount of sales I did, the dollar figures in sales, the number of items that I sold, was up and everything. But my average sale price was down. And a lot of people might say, "Well, what? Come on, man, what's going on? What happened?" Well, because I really made a bigger switch this past year in 2024 to really focusing on cards on eBay. Walking, how you doing, buddy? Hope all is well. So I really, Chuck, Mr. Dupree, how are you, sir? Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, Mr. Larkin. So my average sale price is down, but I sold more items. My sales are higher because, like I was saying, I really focused. Even though in 2023 I was, starting to do more cards, I was still doing more, other stuff also. I was selling clothes, toys, coffee mugs, all kind of stuff. I was still listing a lot of that stuff and so on and so forth. This past year, I've really, focused. If you look at probably how many new listings I did in 2024, 98% or maybe even 99% were probably sports cards related with, everything else coming up. So, so it was a good year, uh, overall. Uh, One of the things that I really like seeing is that I did a lot of repeat customers, which up until this year, and I've been selling on eBay since 2017, I had 55 repeat customers this year. That's definitely the most I've ever had. I bet you if you took all the other years from 2017 to 2023, I probably didn't have 55 combined. So that's cool that people are coming back, and that's all in sports cards. 55 repeat customers, all from sports cards. It's cool that they're coming back to the store to get cards and everything. I like that. I appreciate that. From that standpoint. But overall, happy with it. I'm going to be making a video, um, probably tomorrow, uh, that is going to be about selling and listing cards on eBay, stuff like that. Like I said, I want to start doing some different type videos. Still want to do the opening stuff like that, but I want to go ahead and change. Because if I'm going to try and you know, uh, you um, just help out the community, teach community, see what I do, see what all people do. One of the great things is, hey, how do you ship? How do you sell? How do you inventory? All that kind of stuff. So I want to do videos, along those times. I'm Chuck's looking forward to it, to a great, 2025. I think we all are, hopefully, hey, hopefully overall, things are better this year across the board, for everybody, in your personal relationships, in your work, in your YouTube relationships, or I should say community relationships, and everything that you do, your health, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully everything will get better, be better for you. Um, you know, every day you got a chance to, uh, make it better than yesterday. And that's all we can go ahead, and hope for, from that standpoint. But I got a question for those of you, in the chat. I wonder if it's the blurry background. I don't know. I have to figure something out. We are in the last weekend of NFL football, and we are going through the bowl games right now. So I want to separate those two out. Do you think that players that are playing in these bowl games, um, you know, what are your thoughts as far as cards they have out? Will there be any increase in value? Will some guys all of a sudden show value that never had that didn't have value before? For instance, like a Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. And a lot of people really didn't talk about him, but if you look at what he's done over the last couple of games, the way he's really been integral, in Notre Dame going ahead and winning, will there be an uptick, you know, in his card values? Now it's going to be his Bowman U, obviously, and more than likely you're probably just looking at, unless it's color or number, his Bowman, first Bowmans. Anybody think those will go up? I'm, just curious, how high could they go? Will they go high? I don't know for sure, but it'll be interesting to see, what happens there. Now, conversely, do you guys think the playoffs will have an effect on NFL card values for the player for players? Do you think the values can go up? Do you think the values can take a hit? If player X, and whatever player, pick the player that you would like, if they do well, do you think their card values, will go up? If player X has a good value and they do bad, do you think their value will come down? How many products have active college players in there? Active, really, it's only going to be Bowman. Bowman's going to be the only thing. Well, I don't think Panini puts out anything. I know Panini, they have college draft picks for basketball. I'm not sure if they're still doing that for football. But if you want, so like if they have them, it's kind of like, Panini with NFL with when they do baseball, right? They only have the player, and they'll say, hey, from, Arizona, from that standpoint. But the only stuff that would have, like, I believe the logo would be Bowman. Trying to think what other product there could be. Now, you could have those one-off, leaf type products, where they sign the, the autograph, where you might be able to only get an autograph of a person. But a leaf, you won't have any kind of anything on there. Any hard point players should see their stock go up, but the flip side should happen to the players that are garbage. True, most definitely. I definitely can see that happening. But I think the percentage that it can go up will have to do with the player. I know you might be saying, well, what do you mean by that? Well, if Patrick Mahomes already is high, now he's probably an outlier because if he can go on, win a third Super Bowl in a row, and be the MVP, I can see his cards going higher in value. I really can. Um, but I think some of the other guys that are already up there, I'm not sure how much higher they could go. I think a guy whose value when you think about it, if you look at who's going to be in the playoffs, I think like a Lamar Jackson is one of those guys, right? You look at Lamar, and Lamar has been incredible, during the season. Um, a great chance of winning his third MVP award. But when you look at what Lamar has done in the playoffs, well, that's not good. And I wonder, does that kind of what word? Cap, maybe would be a right word, or maybe that's the wrong word. I'm not a wordsmith, but not doing well in the playoffs, does that cap your value across the board? I don't care what sport it is. And the biggest events come if you don't do well. Do you think that caps you're gonna have buying cars during big events like a stuff? Yeah, yeah. I don't I agree. I agree. It's one of those things where, look, if Sam Darnold's probably a really good example, you know? Here's the guy whose rookie card, I don't know if his value has gone up. I'm sure it has. But Sam Darnold is a guy that you look at right there who more than likely um he has seen an uptick in his value of cards because of the year he has had. Now, whether we want to say, "Oh, it's the defense, it's this, that, and other thing," it doesn't matter. If Sam Darnold goes out there and he can go ahead and win a couple of games, man, that's amazing for his value. His value will go up. Now, is it worth it? Is it, you know, if you're out there looking for them, it's both sides of the coin here, right? If you're the guy who's selling, well, if you have some Sam listed, you're probably watching. If all of a sudden, that first playoff game, Sam goes crazy, you might want to up your price a little bit and see what you could get for him. Maybe don't buy Sam Donald because no, I see what I'm saying is after the first playoff game. What I'm saying is first playoff game has gone through. I'm talking about, so they not just making the playoffs, I'm sure Darnold's cards have gone up a little bit in value because of the way he has played this year. I haven't checked. I'm not one of those card ladder market movers, one of those kinds of things. He may be kind of a bum. He may have been kind of a bum the last, bunch of years. But this year, he is leading his team. He is the quarterback. He is leading his team to what? They're 13-3 right now, I think it is. Or 14-2. I'm not sure. I have to go ahead and double check. Let me bring up the ESPN. Oh yeah, I'm very happy that he's doing better. It's really good. Good for him. So Minnesota is 14-2. 14-2. I mean, just sports fans alone. Who would have thought that a Sam Darnold quarterback led team would be 14-2? I think if you look at his career with the Jets, he might not have won 14 games total. Now that's probably wrong. I'm sure if we look at him, let's see, let's look at his statistics. Well, he played 3 years for the Jets. I'd have to look at their record, but he he wasn't great. I mean, guys got 35 touchdown passes in 1 year. I mean, he's he's playing really, really, really well. From that standpoint. But again, you know, how will his cards do? Will his cards go up? I think they will. I think if he wins, the value will go up. And it's gonna be one of those things where I think people will jump on the internet really, really quick and be like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta go ahead and get some of Sam Darnold's cards." That is 30 more than you've ever thrown. A bunch more than I've ever thrown. But I think Sam is a great example of you know, what one season can go ahead and do for you. Now, do people think that there's going to be long-term value in Sam Darnold cards? No. I cannot believe it unless you have a repeat. Now, will he get a shot next year? I'm going to say yes, he will. I don't know if he has a 1-year deal with Minnesota or not. I could definitely see Minnesota bringing him back. Uh, why would you bring him back? Well, because JJ McCarthy still is coming back from an ACL. So he blew out his knee, right? So he's still coming back from an ACL injury. You can't go ahead and you can't take a chance, with that. You know, think about it from this standpoint. From a fan perspective, if they go 15-2, they win this weekend. They're 15-2. They go in the playoffs and they lose on a freak play or something along those lines, right? They lose, but they don't but Sam plays well. How do you not bring him back? How do you not bring him back? And then are you willing to let JJ sit another year because you traded up to get JJ McCarthy? You know? So what are you doing? You know what? I'm gonna take the damn blur off of this and see if I know all cards. That's all card stuff right there. Card stuff right there. Uh Card stuff right there. Card stuff right there. We got a bunch of card stuff here at Huddle Card HQ. I think that's what it is. I think part of it is the blur. Um, Card tables sold. No way, Jose. That ain't happening. Um, from that standpoint. Let me see kind of if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. Ah! Too much. All right, there we go. But again, oh yeah, there's new cards right there too. $30. I don't know. You have to talk to Mike. You have to talk to the CEO. See what kind of deal we can make. Um, but I think you will see. You'll see an uptick in his cards. I guarantee you. I can definitely see that. If they play in that first round of the playoffs and they do really, really well, I can definitely see at least that night, whether it's Saturday night or Sunday night, uh, the 24 to 48 hours after that playoff victory, again, just assuming that they win and that he plays well, you will see an uptick in his cards. There's no doubt in my mind you will. It's going to be the same thing with if Jordan Love. I think you'll see the same thing with him. Um, I think it's more of the first time guys, the guys who necessarily have been overlooked and everything. Like I wonder, like I said, Patty Mahomes, he wins that third Super Bowl, you're going to see a spike in his card value. There's no doubt in my mind that you will. The funny thing is like here, maybe the running backs will take a little jump. Maybe the wide receivers will, but overall, probably not, a lot. Win Sunday and they have the number one seed. Really? If they win Sunday, they're the number one seed. They jump over Detroit? I did not know that. Wow. That's good to know, Lachlan. I did not know that. Wow. Huh. Oh, because they play the Lions on Monday night. So basically, I'm sorry, Sunday night. So basically, Sunday night's game between the Lions and the Vikings is for the number one seed. So, like I said, I can definitely see. Man, this is irritating the crap out of me. There we go. I can definitely see. Again, Sam plays well. Jared Goff too. I think Jared Goff will see. A bump. Can see a bump in his. Card values. Uh, you know, Jefferson. Now it might not necessarily now some guys I think it may not be a value that goes up, but I think you'll see an increase in sales. All of a sudden, Justin Jefferson cards, there's going to be more people want to look for them. So if you're a seller, you want to, look for those Justin Jefferson cards and get them ready and get them listed and have them sitting there. Now as we are entering the last week of the NFL season, you should really be if you're going to sell on eBay, you should be looking at the playoff teams and starting to focus on the cards of those players. Your quarterbacks, your wide receivers, your running backs. Heck, if you have the kicker, put the kicker out there, whatever it may be, because I think there's going to be more people, there'll be more eyeballs just on those teams, and that's typically what happens. I've seen it. I saw it last year. You see an increase as the playoff teams. I saw it a lot. I saw it in basketball and definitely and saw it in hockey last year. So it's a matter of watching those teams. Now we still have time for basketball and for hockey, but for football, you should be paying attention to what is going on with teams maybe potentially making the playoffs. And if you're a seller on eBay, you want to, be ready, have those cards on the ready to drop, and get them up for sale. Not saying that if you have a base rookie Justin Jefferson, that all of a sudden that card's going to be a $50 card. No. But if it's a $3 card, you might want to go ahead and get it out there and you sell a bunch of $3 cards. You know, Yeah, the loser is going to have 14 wins. Is going to have to go play on the road. Now, the good thing is they're going to play on the road. I don't know what the playoff bracket. Excuse me. I don't know what the playoff brackets look like. I don't know if they're out there. How that whole thing breaks down. Let me see. I'm just taking a look over here. Power rankings, playoff picture. No, I wonder if it's on beyond the schedule. So your wild card, yeah, none of it's filled out yet. No times. no locations yet, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I don't know how they have it as far as who plays what. Why the heck guard? Okay, so we got to get through the wild card round. Where's the wild card? You know, got to get through the wild cards. It's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. You know, when you look at your standings, man. I mean, it's pretty freaking cool when you figure, you know, Denver, Miami, and Cincinnati are still battling. That's a great question. Uh, I couldn't answer that. 2, 3, 4 are still in flux. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the only um, well, yeah, right, because Philadelphia will be the 2, right? I think Philly will be the 2. The Rams will be the 3, and then either Tampa or Atlanta will be the 4. You got that right. Hey, Johnny, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. God bless. Skins will be 6. So the loser of Detroit, Minnesota is the 5. The Redskins. Well, what about Green Bay? I don't necessarily know, John. They could go ahead and um does how's it Atlanta's out? I don't think so. Not according to ESPN. Atlanta is still in because if Atlanta wins, they go to 9-8. Tampa loses, they go to 9-8. You know, I don't know what the head to head is. I don't know how they and actually Tampa has no Tampa has to win to get in. If Atlanta wins and Tampa loses, Tampa's out because the Falcons beat the Buccaneers twice. So they win the head to head. So Tampa has to beat the Saints to get in. If they lose, um, Atlanta goes against the Panthers. So now here's the thing. So Atlanta plays at 1 o'clock. Oh wow. And Tampa plays at 1 o'clock. So it's not like they could even play that little game. So that's good for them. No, according because they're 8-8 right now, and Tampa is 9-7. They both got one game left. So Atlanta wins, they're in. If Atlanta win, Tampa lose, Atlanta's in. Tampa wins, Tampa's in no matter what. But Tampa probably more than likely Tampa at 10-7 would make them the uh 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, would make them the 7 seed. Well, no, actually, no, they won't. Um, because if Tampa wins, Tampa is the Tampa Atlanta, whoever gets in, they are they're the 4 seed. The loser of Minnesota Detroit is the 5 seed. Washington and the Packers depends on what happens there. Will be the 6 and the 7. So it looks like Washington and Green Bay are going for 6 and 7. Falcons got a 15% chance to win. Tampa is minus 13. Yeah, versus the Saints, they are screwed. Man, how is Tampa minus 13 to the Saints? Derek Carr ain't gonna play. They're gonna have Spencer Rattler. Wow. The Saints are 5-11, and the Bucks are 9-7. And and that's crazy that Tampa is 13 and a half point underdog. So the Eagles get Washington for a third time or the Packers. Yes. Yeah, depending on what happens. Uh yeah, so Commanders got the Cowboys and the Packers have the Bears. So they should both win. Yep, they did. They completely fell apart. Oh, I read that wrong. You're right. Sorry. Yeah. Tampa is 13 and a half point favorite. So if both the uh Packers and the and Washington win, you're the 6. Man. So 2 gets 7. So Philadelphia is the 2. So you would get because the first one gets a bye, right? So that would put you what? 2 versus 7. No, I don't think you'd get would you get the Rams? Wouldn't it be 2 versus 7? Yes, they get the Washington would get the Rams. 4, 6. You can't get 2 buys. NFL playoff bracket. Let me see what we got here. I don't know if they had a bracket. I was looking for like a bracket. Yeah, so 2 would get 7. Only the one yeah, 2 would get 2 would get 7, 3 versus 6. So 2 would be so that would mean if that would mean you would get the Eagles. Eagles will be the 2. The 7 would be the Packers. The 3 seed is going to be the Rams. So the Rams would get the Commanders. Right. Gotcha. Yeah, that I tell you that'd be a really good game. I tell you that really good games there. Really good games there. Commanders, Washington against the Commanders, Rams, Packers, Eagles. That's a pretty good game. I mean, you have Tampa Bay or you're Atlanta and you win, you get either Detroit or Minnesota. That's gotta suck. And then they would, like you said, then they will reseed after the first round. So that'll be really interesting. You know, you should like your chances against the Rams. Oh, the Rams have been playing a lot better I mean, people were wondering what the hell was going on with the Rams. A lot of people, they see where the Rams are now, but they started off 1-4. You know, I mean, 10-6, 1-4. I mean, they have Rams have been playing good football. Now, look, the Rams have Seattle, which is not going to be a cakewalk over there. Yeah, I don't know how you. I mean, all in all honesty, I don't know how. Yeah, they were yeah, they were out Puka, they were out Cooper. The running backs were trying to figure that out and everything. Um, yeah, I don't know, John, how you can give it to any other player other than Jaden Daniels right now. I don't know, you know Caleb Williams. Nope. So if it's not him, then then who is it? Um, if I don't know. Do they do a NFC, AFC, or do they just do an overall? I can't remember. Because Bo Nix will give Jaden Daniels a run for his money. Bo has played very, very well. Also, they're neck and neck. You think Bowers more than Bo Nix? I know they do defend, but I'm just. But do they do AFC, NFC, or do they just do overall league? I just don't remember. You know, but I would think your top three would be Bowers, Daniels, and Nix. I think those are your three guys for offensive rookie. Defensive rookie, I couldn't even guess. Could not even guess. I don't even know. Let's see here. 2024 NFL draft. Let's see. Huh. The first defensive player taken in this last draft was edge an edge rusher, Liatu Latu for the Colts. Yeah, so I don't even know where they would go ahead and come from. So yeah, so I think your three comes down to Daniels, Nix, and Bowers for offensive. For defensive, I couldn't tell you. Although, well, actually, the Verse kid for the Rams, he's had a pretty good year, and and they had that other defensive lineman that they picked up this year for the Rams is a guy. Where was Philadelphia? Queon Mitchell from Toledo, quarterback. Yeah, I don't know that'll be a toss up for rookie of the year. I honestly, like I said, I could see that the Dallas Turner kid that the Vikings got from Alabama. I'm not sure about him. I know the Verse kid from Florida State that went to the Rams. I know he's had a pretty good year, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's the only guy. I mean, I know of some of the Rams games that I have watched that when he's been on TV, he has stood out. Oh yeah, Neighbors too. Yeah, wow, that's true. Neighbors did have a really good year. Yeah. I tell you, I think Roma Duze and Marvin Harrison Jr., I think those 2 guys are probably the most disappointing of the guys that were supposed to, do, pretty well. Yep. Yeah, that's what I think. Like I said, those are the only 2 guys, and I'm just looking at the draft. Now, those are first rounders. I don't know if there's anybody in the second round who's gone, who's gone absolutely crazy doing, great things and stuff. None of these names jump out. Verse does for me, uh, just because I've seen a couple of the Rams games. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really heard much of anybody else. Yeah, I'm not sure here. I don't necessarily know if yeah, doesn't matter. I mean it matters to those guys. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't just have a winning season. I mean, to go where you were last year to 11-5, second place in the NFC East. I mean, that's pretty good. Speaking of the NFC East, I know, John, you're probably happy about it. I don't know about, I don't know how you feel, Larkin. Uh, yeah, yeah, unbelievable. Great, great, great turnaround. Just goes to show you, you get rid of the owner, but if when you put good people in place, good things can go ahead and happen. So, what do you think about? You think the Eagles go ahead and really don't care too much and let the Giants win and even push them further up the draft board so that it costs them either even more to try and move up to 1 or 2? Well, actually, they ain't moving up to 2 because Tennessee and Cleveland, right now have the second and the third pick. New England has the first pick, so it's New England, it's Tennessee, then it's Cleveland as far as the picks go. I think right now the Giants have the fourth pick. You think the Eagles go ahead and I don't know. I mean, Barkley as of right now is not playing. They are Barkley is not playing right now. They are resting their starters, but they still might win. And that's the scary part. That the Giants starters may potentially can't go ahead and yeah. And I'm surprised at that. I'm really surprised that what I honestly thought that they would do is he needed what 101 yards, 102 yards. Go ahead and make him the focal point of the offense at least for the first half. In the first half, if you use him correctly, he's going to go ahead and get the record, and then you can sit him. I understand the overall scheme, but to me, this is one of those things. I think there's one thing when you're trying to break a record, you should go ahead and you should go for it. In my opinion, I think they should give him the opportunity and say, look. You're definitely going to play the first quarter. Depending on where you are in the first quarter, then we'll decide what happens there. If you have 75 yards after the first quarter and you only need 25, 26 yards, we'll go ahead and when we come out in the second quarter, we will feed you the ball. We'll get you the number, and you can go ahead and jog off and get out. But to me, they should be trying to go ahead and get that record. It would be important to me. You think about from a standpoint of from an organizational standpoint, say, hey, the Philadelphia Eagles, we had a guy run for more yards in one season than anybody else. So I think they should have went ahead and did it. I don't think they will, John. To me, I think his only shot would have been if he started. If he started, give him the ball, give him a shot, let him try and get it, and then go ahead and go from there. I think it's like I said, in my opinion, I think it's a disgrace. They should do it. You know, for me, eh, true. I mean, it probably is, but it's still a record. To me, it's still it's still a record. They still can change. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to game. I don't know. I'm not sure when Dickerson did it. I don't know if he did it in a 16 game. I think Eric did it in a 16. Uh, let's see here. NFL season rushing record. All right. So Eric Dickerson did it in 1984. And in 1984, they played 16 games. So, yes, Dom, to your point, an extra game added, but, 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 Saquon Barclay would be one more game. So I guess you're right, but the record is the record. But yeah, never mind. Um, yeah, like there's one thing that I hope. Yeah, so Dickerson is 2,105. Barkley is 2,005. So he is 100 yards. The one that surprised me more than anything, you know, Adrian Peterson was 8 yards away from breaking the record in 2012. Eight. Eight. Are you kidding me? Give me a break, man. Eight. That's nuts. You know. Oh yeah. If Philadelphia had to win to be the 2 seed, you bet your rear end their starters would be in there. They were. They were built. They were stopped to build to do that. 100% correct. I just think it's funny. I will say, I know people. I know he's a very polarizing figure. He is the quarterback for my team, Aaron Rodgers. I really do hope. I understand there are a lot of people that hate him. Very polarizing figure. Um, but I do hope in this last game he does get the opportunity to throw that 500th, career um, touchdown pass. Um, you know, uh, to go ahead and get to that point. I mean, that is something that I hope happens. He's at 499. I would love to see him go ahead and get there. Again, not that I know he's a polarizing figure, and people are gonna be like, "Screw him!" After all he did, and especially Jet fans, screw him after all he did to the Jets. I don't care. To me, that's a special number. I think it would be cool if he was able to, get number 500. Um, so I hope he can accomplish that. Because I got to believe that that dude is done. I'm not sure where he would go. I'm not sure who would want him. Um, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. Jets have a young quarterback. They drafted Jordan Travis last year, who went in the fifth round. But the only reason why he went in the fifth round was because, of that injury he got, that leg injury, that gruesome leg injury. I think where he tore all three of the ligaments. And unfortunately, he was never cleared to go ahead and play this year. Was hoping that he would have maybe been able to, you know, get cleared the last quarter of the season, the last few games, maybe just to get out there and see and get some action to see what we got, because he was the guy who the only reason why he got drafted in the fifth round was because of that injury. A lot of people thought he would have, third rounder for sure. Some thought he could get into the second round. So, I would have liked to have seen that. Hey, Shawnee, how you doing, buddy? How's it going? Not why they schedule sad like this. The Ravens clinch the division with a win in a early game. Yeah, I don't know. You would have thought that they would have tried. I guess because they put the NFC, the AFC North on Saturday. I think those are the only two games on Saturday. When you look at the schedule coming up, so you're right. So you know that's very interesting, Larkin, that they are doing that because if they win, Pittsburgh has nothing to play for. And Pittsburgh plays Cincinnati. So all then pride and not wanting Cincinnati to beat you, right? But does that matter? Now all of a sudden that means, Cincinnati could be thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe they only play their starters for a half or so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see if that affects. It'll be interesting to see. That's okay, Sean. I get it. Um, it'll be interesting to see if that affects the Pittsburgh game. Because Baltimore wins, if Baltimore beats Cleveland, which I mean, is there anybody thinking it won't happen? You know, they are. Steelers are going in the wrong direction. I guess if you're Pittsburgh, actually, you think about it. If you're Pittsburgh, no matter what happens with that game before, you got to go out to win, right? You have what they lost, what I think three in a row or three out of the last four, whatever it may be. So yeah, you need to end on a W. You need to go into playoffs on a W, not on an L. So from that standpoint, he might have. He might have. I mean, Penix, I mean, you definitely see, I don't, I think a lot of people misjudged him. Um, you know, I mean, honestly, the only reason why he was not talked about being number one or number two was because of his knee injuries. The guy went ahead, and had what, the two ACL injuries. Um, but he's, not that bad. Does he have any interceptions? I mean, he does have two interceptions in four games. That's not terrible. I mean, he did. He did have more injuries than Tua, but I think him having both knees, affected him. But I think that's why I'm saying I think people misjudge. I think there are a lot of people who looked at that pick at what was he, 7 or 9, and were like, "My gosh, what's going on?" But a lot of people didn't realize again, with the injuries that he had, that's the only reason why he was there. I guarantee you, if a Michael Penix, was injury free, you look at the numbers he put up in college, pretty darn good. Excuse me, right? He put up some serious numbers, playing for Washington. Actually, he played 6 seasons. That's another thing. His first season was with Indiana. And he only threw 37 passes, so he probably, I don't know if he got hurt and was maybe able to do a red shirt. That might have been one game, maybe 2 games worth of stuff. But a lot of people don't realize he actually played 6 years of football. And you think about it, his last 2 years at Washington, He threw for almost 10,000. He threw for 9,700 and change. No, 9,500. Sorry. He threw for 9,500 yards. He threw for 4,600 one year, 4,900 another year. So that dude threw for some serious yardage in 2 years. But people saw 2021 he had gotten hurt. 2018 he had gotten hurt. And people went, "Oh my gosh, bad injuries, bad injuries." But you look at where he was drafted, and yeah, it should have been higher. It most definitely should have been higher. Where he probably, I mean, honestly, when you think about it, he probably, I don't know. Sean John is asking if you saw his email. Could he have gone number one over Caleb? I don't know. Would he have gone number two over Jaden? I don't know, but he definitely would have gone probably if whoever. I bet you I could. I bet. Well, I don't know because Drake May. They did take a quarterback number three, but I would think a Michael Penix with good knees is ahead of Drake May. Yeah, if Miami makes the playoffs, let's face it, they're screwed no matter where they go. I mean, they're not that great against teams with winning records also. It's not just that part. They don't, they've struggled against, good teams. I mean, you think about it, right? You look at who they have, look at who they beat. They beat the Patriots, they beat the Jaguars, they did beat the Rams, but they beat the Raiders, they beat the Patriots, they beat the Jets, they beat the 49ers, and they beat the Browns. They've lost to the Texans, the Packers, the Bills, the Cardinals. They lost to the freaking Titans. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, Miami's it's gonna be tough for them no matter what because the cold is worse for them. I mean, you got to figure they're at the Jets. What is the New York weather supposed to be like? That is the question. I mean, it just goes to show you, I think, how much the weather will go ahead and Miami is only favored by 2.5 against the Jets. It's in New York. Right. It's not going to be nice. Right now they're saying 35 degrees starting at game time, and game time is at 4:25. I gotta believe that means temperatures going south. It's gonna be fucking cold and windy. They're saying Jalen might not be able to play in the wild card game for the Packers. I see they signed Ian Book. Oh boy. Midwest is getting a blizzard, sub-zero temperatures. All right, well, Minnesota's in a dome. Philly's going to be out. They're not central. The Rams will be the 3. They're out in California, no big deal. The 4 is going to be either Tampa or well, I wonder if Tampa wins and the Rams lose, could the Rams bump up? Not sure. Matty Ice Cards, how you do, buddy, Matty? So this only really affects until when if Green Bay gets it's a home game, right? Or you mean mid? Oh wow, I wonder if it's Midwest all the way down. Jedi Master, did you get your package? So Tua is questionable. Jalen Waddle is questionable. And Jets got a bunch of questionables, but does that really matter? No. All right, Larkin. Have a great one, buddy. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Much appreciated as always. Later, Larkin. Good night, Larkin. Oof. Old Miss 45, Duke 7 in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, playing down in Jacksonville, Florida. Jackson Dart. What the hell? The field goal kicker threw a pass. Wow, they went for he went 0 for 1. Jackson Dart having a nice game. 335 yards, 3 TDs. I mean, it is against Duke, but Duke was supposed to have a halfway decent defense. Got some guys playing good. If Eagles get the Packers, I do not see them getting by them. Eagles are going to be tough. Eagles have been playing good. The Packers have been, little up and down, I guess is a good way to to go ahead and say it. When you look at the Packers, again, they're 11-5. But they did, but they're 2-2 of their last 4. And again, who they lose to? They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Vikings. So they lost to the teams ahead of them. It's kind of sort of like they've lost the teams they were supposed to lose to, and they beat teams that aren't. I emailed you about it. He has not received it. You sons of bitches, you're not going. Well, I mean, delivered to the front desk. Wow. Sean has a front desk where he receives his mail. Heck of a football game with that Georgia and Notre Dame. Very sad as to why the game had to be postponed. Um, but it it was it was a game, even though Georgia necessarily they never really were. They were never really in it. At the same point, you just felt as though they were never really out of it either. He will check in the morning. He has to go down to the front desk. John says, "Man, that's cool. That's cool, bro. I think I screwed up my fantasy football. Yes, I did. I mean, my fantasy basketball. Son of a gun. I would have beat the son of a the dirty rat, but I didn't now because of this crapola. Ugh. Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is the kind of thing I missed a couple things. Now all of a sudden I get screwed. It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll get everybody healthy. Not 35 for the card table, sorry. No one in New York 2 I just saw. Now one in New York 2 I just saw. Really? Oh, I know there was there was something in Queens that went on in New York. Yeah. That though was just that was just some crazy people shooting at each other. Unless something excuse me. Unless something changed. that was a Queens nightclub type thing. Yeah, that was a Queens thing. Just some knuckleheads drinking, and then I don't know, I don't like you. No, I don't like you. No, I don't like you. Bang, bang, bang. Stupid shit. But I don't know. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Hopefully, um, you know, I'm gonna give Detroit the edge because they're home. Um, but Detroit, they excuse me, they've gotten dinged up a little bit, on some of their defense and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised. Excuse me. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won. I don't know. Yeah, I just think, like I said, I'm gonna take Detroit just because 'cause they're at home. Yeah, I agree. I think it could go either way. It may be whoever has the ball last. I mean, it may be one of those types. That's what it may that's what it may come down to. It may come down to whoever's got the ball in their hands last. OT game, it'll be good. I mean, that is the last game of the NFL season. So the NFL, I wonder if they flex that game uh, to that point. I wonder if that was the original. Just trying to see. Atlanta plays at 1 o'clock. So let's see. Kansas City, Denver, Los Angeles against Vegas, Seattle against Los Angeles, Miami, New York, San Francisco, Arizona. Oof. What game could we get here at 4 o'clock? It'd be pretty cool to. And I hope it's the Jets, Miami, but Kansas City, Denver is not going to be much of a game because Kansas City is not going to play their guys. you know, Kansas City's probably going to be sitting a bunch of their players. I haven't heard of anything, but I mean, I'd be extremely shocked, if no, Mahomes is out. Limited Wednesday. Mahomes is rested. Kelsey is going to be rested. So that means they have the great Carson Wentz is going to lead them. Colts suck. Don't even mention them. Coach, quarterback, GM need to be bounced. Well, I think the GM and the quarterback are safe. I don't think Jim Irsay. I don't know. There's nothing that makes me believe that Jim Irsay uh, will get rid of the GM. I just don't. I don't really see that. Um, yeah, I just don't see Irsay getting rid of that guy. To me, that's his guy. Um, so I don't see that. I honestly do not see that happening, in my humble opinion. The coach, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Not 100% sure. Um, but I don't know. I like again to me that's one of those things where I think that I don't know if he's done enough for it. Yeah, but the thing is what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do right now with Richardson? I mean, I don't think they traded. I don't think they traded up for him. But this is year two. You got to figure, you know, eh, I don't know. I don't know. You got to figure you might be in a situation where you stick with him. Who you gonna go ahead and um 2025 NFL mock draft or draft order. I mean, right now, Matt, you're 7-9. You're looking at maybe like the 12th pick, 12th, 13th pick in that area. What are you going to do? You're going to go ahead and you're going to try and trade up and get, who? You're going to try and get Shooter Sanders? You think Dion? You're going to try and get Cam Ward? Daniel Jones signed. He cleared waivers and he signed. Who did Daniel Jones sign with? Daniel Jones. Didn't he sign with the Oh wow, the Vikings might be talking to him, which makes no sense to me. But yeah, he may sign with the Vikings. Oof. I don't understand why the hell you'd do that. Yeah. Yeah, the O line, I think their O line is decent. But you're right. He had a problem throwing. Yep. Stroud does have those moments. Oh, he is a Viking now. And I know they were talking. I don't know if he actually wound up signing with them. I know he was talking to him. But I just want to see the Giants win. I really want to see them beat the Eagles. I want to see the Jets lose. I want to see the Giants get to 4-13. I want to see the Jets lose, and I just want to see where they go ahead and where they wind up and ended up. I think it's hilarious. True. But Matt, you have to realize something when it comes to Richardson. Okay. Here's here's the problem that you have with Richardson, and it actually is a rather very simple and it actually is a rather simple thing. He played 4 games last year. He's played 11 games this year, so he's played 15 games in the NFL. He didn't play much in college. He was only a starter for 1 year. In 2020, he went one completion. He had 2 attempts. In 2021, he had 64 attempts. So you're really talking about a kid who, at an upper level of football, this year is really only his second complete year. I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's really, really tough. And I mean, but what are you gonna do? I mean, again, 11 games, so can he get better? The problem you have is 47.7% completion percentage. It's just not good. It's not good. I mean, I don't know how you can, you know, is he missing the short throws or is he missing the long throws? Is he missing, like what throws is he missing for him to be that bad? You know, but again, in my opinion, you're talking about a kid who's 22 years old and in reality has only had 2 full seasons, and if and 11 games really isn't a full season. If he plays, I think he's out for Sunday, so he would only have played 15 NFL games, so he hasn't even played the equivalent of 1 full season yet. You can't ugh. Plus the wide receiver not knowing his routes. Yeah, but the depth but man, you got Pittman Jr., you got Pierce, you got Downs, you have frigging Jonathan Taylor. He should be better. And he gives away where he's throwing. Yeah, well, but that's what I'm saying, Sean, John, my Matt. Jeez, holy cow! I feel like my mother going through everybody's names. But that's what happens, Maddie, when you've only played the equivalent of 2 full seasons of upper echelon football. He's still a project, unfortunately. And when you're a project and you only are able to play in 4 games the first year, that's a problem. It's gonna be the same thing that's gonna happen with what's the kid out of Arnie, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Linda Lavin passed away. I don't I'm not gonna go that they yeah, that well, they're not good. And a big old howdy from Arnie. You know, I mean, I think Maddie, I think that's the only thing, that I see. I don't know who, um, he's like a 2-year-old Dell computer. You can't fix it. That barely worked to begin with. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think, I really think when they drafted him, I'm not sure he showed the problem they had is very simple. You didn't really have anybody that you could have had him sit behind and learn. That's number 1. So because you don't have that, he played well enough in spring training that first year to be the starter. Then he played 4 games and got hurt and was out the rest of the year, you know? And people went, "Oh my gosh, he completed 60% of his passes. He looked okay. He played 4 games, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Wow, that's not that bad." But he was still a project. What's his work ethic? How much time is he spending in the film room and stuff like that? You have that piece to to take into consideration. I think Archives is the 8th. Well, I think I mean you're right, Arnie, from that standpoint. A 22-year-old, you take I think, I think some of these kids are gonna have a little longer, but it depends how bad you were. Look, the truth of the matter is this. he would have sucked, and you would have been at the top of the draft board, then you could go ahead and you can say, you know what, we're done with him because we're going to take Cam Ward out of Miami, right? Maybe you do that. I don't know. I don't know if that's what I don't know if that's what the thought process could be, might be, is. Problem you have is you're drafting right now around 12. You probably can't go up that much higher. Maybe you can get to 10, but the truth of the matter is, even any quarterback that gets drafted in this draft, not there's none of them that should get drafted in the top 10. Cam Ward is yeah, he was one of the best college football quarterbacks this year. That's draft eligible. Shador Sanders, one of the best ones this year. That's draft eligible. It doesn't mean that they are worthy of top 10 picks in the NFL. I don't think either one is going to be. I don't know. I don't think either one of those is a franchise type quarterback. That's just the way I think. It is new release break. LCS will have it next Tuesday. Ward will be gone by the fourth pick. I think Ward will be gone by the third pick. Well, that's true. Well, I think depends on what happens, what the Giants do, Arnie. I think the problem you have is I think the Giants, the Patriots, they lose, they keep the number one pick. If the things would have stayed, the issue you have right now is if the Giants want Sanders, which from what looking on X and stuff like that, that is something that is something that I think, a lot of people are speculating about, that the Giants want Shador Sanders or even Cam Ward. They want one of those two. Knowing that if the top three teams lose, which is New England at 1, Tennessee at 2, Browns at 3, I think, or it could be Browns, then Tennessee. I'm not 100% sure. But out of those three, um, the Giants would have, if the Giants want a quarterback, they're going to have to move up to 1. Because if they don't move up to 1, I can't see Tennessee trading out of the 2 spot with the Giants. Not that the Giants can give them anything, and the Browns won't either. So Sanders and Cam will be gone by the third pick. It's just the way. That's just the way it's going to be. I mean, if in New England's going to trade back. I think New England is probably really hoping that the Giants can secure the number 4 pick. Um, but I don't think that's enough, because I think if you got to figure, if you're the Browns and you have the third pick, and let's say the Giants and New England swapped and New England is at 4, if you're the Browns and Sanders is gone and Ward is gone, I can't believe if you're the Browns, you're passing on Travis Hunter. I mean, I just can't believe it. Got the last good franchise quarterback. I don't know about that. We'll see that. Speaking of what, bring back Charlie. You and Charlie Ward, as a fan, trade this year's pick for as much as possible. I mean, honestly, not a bad idea. If especially if you're sitting at 2, good place to be. If you're sitting at 3, it might be tough. You might not go ahead and get as much as you think. Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure people would want Travis Hunter that much to go ahead and take the Deshaun Watson contract. And there's talk that the Giants may not even want one of those guys, because the last talk was that they may talk to the Cardinals about Kyler Murray, which I don't understand why, but right, they are going to restructure it. I heard that. You think over the last 5 years that you have drafted the only franchise quarterback? I mean, Denver might seem different. Bo Nix is pretty good. Browns need to move to Oakland. Oh, please. What are they going to be? The Oakland Browns? That would not be good, Sean. Smart play could be waiting on Riley Leonard in the later rounds. Yeah. Him, um, need to push that stadium. Well, weren't they talking about building a new one downtown in downtown Cleveland? Or further away from Cleveland. I can't remember which one it was. So another guy people are talking about is Jackson Dart, the kid out of Mississippi. I don't know about Riley Leonard. I'm not sure how he does. Uh, uh, Mel Kiper Big Board. Mel Kiper's top 25. Hunter is number one. A white list, yeah. This guy. Crapola. Let's see. Mel Kiper. This crap about needing these freaking special things pisses me off. So you got Travis Hunter at 1. Oh, wow. Will Johnson at 2. A lot of people are saying that Abdul Carter, the Penn State guy, he's 1. Moving one suburb over. No, it's one city or 15 minutes away. 106 shopping, hotels, housing, one big parking lot, and a new dome stadium. Wow. Well, that's not too bad. So Mel Kiper has Shadur Sanders, his 11th overall prospect, but the number 1 quarterback. Cam Ward is the number 2 quarterback. And then in his top 25 players, Mel Kiper, I'm just going by him because everybody knows who he has. Those are the only 2 quarterbacks that he has. Are those 2 guys right there. Quarterback draft rankings 2025. Let's see what we can find there. Yeah, I tell you, the funny thing is, I don't disagree, Sean. I do not disagree. I do not think he is going to be as good as people think he's going to be. Yeah. So this has got to be old. This has got to be old because there's somebody who still somehow ranks Jalen Milroe as an QB1. I don't see that. But you have Milroe, you have Ward, you have Sanders, uh, Drew Aller, but he's going back, I think. I'm not sure. I know, like I said, I know Jackson Dart is another one. I don't, like I said, Maddie, I don't think I don't think Riley Leonard is a bad choice. Um, the only thing that the only thing that I would be that would concern me about him is in this game right here, the game tonight, he only threw for 90 yards. And when you look at it, I mean, he only threw for 2,300 yards this year. He went ahead and 1,100 at Duke last year, almost 3,000 at Duke in 2022. But he hasn't really thrown for a lot of yards. He's staying again, man. I tell you, Manning has got to go into the transfer portal. There's no way Arch Manning, if he's staying at Texas, there's no way Arch Manning is not going into the transfer portal. I mean, come on. Because yours ain't going back to Texas if he ain't the starter. I mean, there's got to be no way. Got to be no way. That would be amazing if he goes back. Yeah. So I, I don't know what's going to be available. There's talk that there are really uh, there's no franchise quarterbacks. Although to me, a kid like Jackson Dart in the right situation. But the thing is you got to look at the teams that need quarterbacks. Are they going to be able to develop them? Is Tennessee going to be able to develop Ward or Sanders? If the Browns get Ward or Sanders, are they going to be able to develop them? Unless you have the right coaching, unless you have the right other parts and the pieces in place, it doesn't make a rat's ass of difference how good the guy is. Look at Caleb Williams. He's supposed to be really, really good. Look what he did. You know? Well, that's true. That's true. He definitely could go ahead and get that kind of money. I mean, so he'll say, "Hey, I want to go in the transfer portal." He'll see who's willing to offer him the most money. That's a shame about college football. College football has gone ahead and basically, it's become, NFL minor leagues. Uh and in reality, the free agency is probably better in college football than it is in the NFL. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, Milrow going in, I don't understand that. I think the way he played the last few games, he's hurt himself. I know that people said that the Jets went ahead and really like him. I don't know about that part. Fans can't pay attention for 3 minutes. You think fans are going to be patient? Says the question. What position has the longest tenure in the NFL? Offensive line is probably the longest tenure one, to be honest with you. Or kickers. Well, I mean, tenure though, as far as not anymore. I mean, it used to be kickers used to stay with their team forever. That shit doesn't happen anymore. Offensive linemen, if you're good, you could stick around. You could play with a team for a very, very long time. You know, yeah. SEC nowhere to be found. But I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see uh, what happens. You know, again, you have Shador Sanders and Cam Ward, which will more than likely be gone by no later. Both of them will be should be off the board by no later than the third pick. And the truth is more than likely neither one of them deserves to be picked that high, but it doesn't make a difference. You play a position, you play a premium position, you show good numbers in college. That's all it takes. Yeah. Draft the biggest and best online protect quarterback. And as you see, the fantasy and real life, plenty of good wide receiver talent. Running backs done don't get long term deals anymore. Healthy, young. Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh yeah, man, that's right. Texas is SEC. Kicker is still rated the longest tenure with wow. No, you're right. If you can't protect the quarterback, if you can't protect the quarterback, it don't matter. I mean, it really doesn't. If you cannot protect the quarterback, doesn't make a difference who you got back there. They've said it's been, people say whatever they want to say, but it's been known forever. The game is won and lost in the trenches. If you can keep your if you can have your quarterback have a clean uniform, you got a great shot at winning. Because most of these guys, if they have a clean one, most of them, other than a few, are decent enough to be able to get the ball out of their hands to an open wide receiver. If you're giving them the time to go through their reads and all the other kind of stuff, if you let them have a clean uniform, you got a shot. You don't need that franchise quarterback. You need a game manager. If you have good talent, else some good wide receivers, good tight end, good rotation of running backs, an excellent offensive line. All you need is a game manager, someone who doesn't lose you the game. He may not win you the game, but a guy that doesn't lose you the game. Yep. Well, we got about another month. Pitchers and catches. Joe Burrow last 2 years, his numbers improved. Yeah. Yeah. OU and Texas went to the SEC. Pickleball. Why is it called pickleball? Yeah. Why is it called pickleball? Well, yeah. The problem you have is how do you get a good offensive line? It's very, there are a lot of guys out there. You know, you have to go ahead and you put in the work. How many of these how many of these teams really invest in the scouting part? How many are out there looking at a lot of these other schools and trying to grab, and really looking at these offensive linemen, not just, oh, we look at the SEC and the Big Ten. It's not the only places to look. You got to look at the Mountain West. You got to look at all these other things. And you got to pick a couple here or there. And you need a Bill Callahan, type offensive line coach. And you need a good offense. The truth of the matter is even in the NFL, it still comes down to coaching. The talent is only shown. You could put the greatest talent together, and many teams have tried. Look, the Jets tried to go ahead and sign a bunch of guys, trade for a bunch of guys, and put a decent talent. Did nothing. The Redskins tried it that year when they spent money like nuts. Didn't work. You got to build it. You got to build it. Find them in the draft. You got to find those guys, then coach the hell out of them. Supplement. Hopefully, you keep them around and you build. I don't think any team's going to build an offensive line, in a year or two. It probably takes a couple, but you got to start getting the pieces. Yep. It does take patience, and it takes money, it takes time, you know, but you can't go out and just sign all the best offensive linemen because then you got no money left for anything else. So you got to find them in the draft. But you got to find that third rounder. You got to find that that Nick Mangold center in that in the second or third round. Somewhere along those lines. Let's see, when was Nick Mangold drafted? He also went to Ohio State, so he's pretty darn good. Oh, never mind. He was a first round pick. Don't think about Nick Mangold. Yeah, if you can go ahead and if you can keep him, John, that's the thing. You don't have teams don't have as much time as they used to anymore. You figure you have Jane Daniels, so you got what? You have 3 years. Actually, you probably only have 2 years when you think about it, because when year four comes, you got to start to think about going ahead and paying him, which means then you got to go ahead and you have to start getting rid of talent. Oh, no, no, I agree on it. That's definitely the way to go and everything. What I'm saying though is that you have to build through the draft. You have to try and lock those guys up, for okay money, while you can, and then hope that when you have to pay some of those guys, you're bad enough to where you can get a potential franchise type quarterback that you don't have to pay for 3 or 4 years. Yep, true. It's look, it ain't, but to your point, I mean, how does Green Bay do it? I mean, look what Green Bay has done. You know, they haven't been like okay, they haven't been knocking down doors to get Super Bowl, but they haven't really, they haven't sucked enough to where they're drafting in the top five, and they've Pittsburgh. I mean, it's like what do you want? You have Pittsburgh is a great example. Mike Tomlin's been there, what, 18 years? They've never had a losing record up to this point. Mike Tomlin has not had a losing record. 500 was the worst record that he has had. But he's only won one Super Bowl, and he hasn't really gone to the playoffs a lot. And when you're 8-8, when you're 9-7, you're middle of the pack drafting. You got. I mean, you're trying to pull a needle out of the haystack like a Ben Roethlisberger. So it's gonna be good. All righty there, old feller. Yep. We'll see you at the card deal tomorrow. Browns fans will buy tickets to their own funeral. Pay. Yeah. Football is the one sport where I don't necessarily know. I mean, ticket sales are going to be there. Tickets are going to be, going for good money almost no matter what. From that standpoint, I think when you look at the NFL is a completely different animal when it comes to football. Don't get me wrong. There are rabid fans that's going to fill stadiums no matter what the record is. There may be others that it's a little light, but for the most part. So 38, not 38 years, not that bad. But I don't know. It's This draft is going to be interesting. The truth is there's a lot more defensive players and some offensive linemen, defensive linemen, um, that are higher rated than these quarterbacks. And to me, Mel Kiper, who who does a good job, if he's saying, and a lot of other people are saying that, Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, they're anywhere from the 10th to the 15th best player in the draft. They're still going to go in the top three. They'll be done. Yeah, yeah. They paid T Law. That's the problem you have. That's the problem. That's the problem. You had that point where you had Trevor Lawrence. What do you do? Do you let him walk or do you pay him? And the problem you have is I mean, I think his deal is probably okay. Um, but when you look at some of these, where is it? Damn it! I thought I had it. Reference. Ah, bummer. I thought I had the salary thing. There's there's like a salary website you could go to and you can see what the different salaries are. Um, but when you look at it, there she blows. Right. If we go to the NFL, rankings. Not sure what happened, but that's a sign. I need to go ahead and shut down. So thanks a lot, everybody. Much appreciate you hanging out. Don't forget, show up at Arnie's tomorrow. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.